When that happens, when that story gets out, gold will double in a day. Gold will double in a day. If you don't have the gold now, it'll be too late because it'll be doubled in a day. And I'm hearing this in December. There's going to be a massive, and I'm hearing it might come from Russia, because Russia is not happy with how this Bush administration has manipulated the price of oil down to the $60 level to help their buddy McCain. And they're hurting. Now they're saying, okay, what the hell with you? We're going to bust open the COMEX in December because we know they're short silver and gold. They can't deliver it. They've sold short more than they could possibly deliver it, and they're going to shut that market down. And that's going to be a massive dislocation in these markets. So again, I urge people, position yourself ahead of that. The dollar is absolute toast. Now, on that clip that you just played, you know, that whole building number 7, you know, the COMEX, building number 7, all that stuff down on Wall Street is completely corrupt to the bone, to the absolute core. And you know what's ironic about the whole thing, about the 9/11 event, is that I was talking to brokers 2 weeks before the event, and they had heard the rumor of exploding airplanes, and they were buying puts on airline companies. So you've got brokers who are actually working in the Twin Towers who are speculating on exploding airlines. I mean, that's what these bankers are all about.
Max Keiser, let me stop you.
They'll speculate on their own demise.
Max Keiser, let me stop you right there. I mean, you're a prominent guy. You have an international television show, international radio show, very popular website. You don't make stuff up. I've been following you for a long time. I know that you've always been very, very accurate in what you say. Specifically, you were on Wall Street, you were working where? As much detail as you can, because we have a lot of other mainstream reports where people on Wall Street were warned the towers were going to be blown up, there was going to be a disaster, there was a FEMA drill there the night before. You're just another one of these witnesses. Tell us specifically.
The rumors are out there 2 weeks in advance, and you can see it in the trading pattern on the airline's put.
No, I understand the record put options against American and United. You specifically, go back to where you were, what these people said to you.
Well, if you look at those options, they were skyrocketing in the price volume. And there was a rumor on the street that these options were trading as if the airplane had already blown up. So there was a rumor. Well, how can that be? There's no airplanes that have blown up. Now, you do a little research, and you find out that a lot of these contracts are going through the offices of Alex Brown down in Maryland.
Buzzy Krongard.
Who was that Alex Brown in Maryland? Oh, a guy named Buzzy Krongard. Buzzy Krongard then moved over to CIA, worked with George Tenet. So now there's a pipeline with the CIA, Alex Brown, where all these puts were traded 2 weeks before the event. And I used to work at Alex Brown. I worked there in 1990. I met these guys. I was working on Wall Street at the time.
Okay, but not just the record puts.
That's how I hear these rumors. I talk to brokers all day long. I hear rumors all the time.
Max Keiser, not just the puts. Specifically, you're saying you were on Wall Street and you heard guys in offices going, yeah, something about exploding airplanes. Let's put puts not just on airlines, specifically on American and United. What did you hear?
At the time, I was in Europe. I talked to brokers all day long. There was a rumor on the street that all the action in the put options was getting people's attention. And looking at it afterward, you see that all this action went through Alex Brown. Alex Brown's a stone's throw from Washington. And if you look, type up Buzzy Krongard on Google, and, you know, the story starts to come into focus. There was information out there 2 weeks in advance about a lot of look at the puts. I mean, I
understand, but you're saying specifically,
financial analyst. Look at the action in the action in the puts themselves.
No. We know about all that.
The 9/11 report says, based on the puts, the volume in these puts, it suggests that there was insider trading. However, we are not going to pursue that in any great detail. Well, why not? It's a clear case of insider trading. When you see action, anytime there's a merger or insider trading, there's a huge spike in the volume of the puts or the options or the stock. And that's investigated immediately because that's a telltale sign of insider trading. If you look at the action on those options, it's a telltale sign clearly that information above and beyond random information.
No, I understand. It was record put options on American and United. We're very well versed. I put a film out 6 months after the attacks that covers that, Road to Tyranny, 9/11 Road to Tyranny. What I'm asking you is, as a financial analyst, as a financial consultant, as an expert, you yourself say you remember asking, hey, why are there record puts on United and American? And your colleagues said something about blowing up airplanes.
That was the rumor. That was the talk. I mean, yeah, it makes sense because you think about it. It's because they acted like you saw after an explosion. That's where the volume and the price action was after an explosion. So the comment you heard was, well, why would it happen like this now? There's no explosion. You see, it was people were asking that question. Why now? And then you talk to brokers, and the ridiculous and absurd thing is that you're talking to actual brokers on the street who were speculating on ultimately what became their own demise.
Amazing. Okay, let's get back to gold. I mean, they're admittedly manipulating and suppressing it. Why are they so afraid of gold?
Gold is the banker's worst enemy because gold represents real money, and it's a limited supply, and you can't run up huge multi-billion, trillion-dollar debts like you can with a fiat money currency if you have a gold standard. It's a check and balance that would prevent the bankers in the world from engaging in what we've just seen over the past 20, 30 years, this huge Ponzi scheme based on fiat money and debt. You know, everyone has seen the film Money is Debt. Everyone understands, I think, now that the Federal Reserve and the Treasury, they simply issued trillions of dollars worth of debt. It's not money in the sense that it has any value, and this creates wage slaves or the casino consumer gulag state in America where people are wedged in cheap money. And right now, the economy, after going through a heart attack because of the credit seizure from 18 months ago, they have ramped up another $500 billion, $2 trillion, $3 trillion, $5 trillion worth of fresh credit, fresh debt, and it's going to restoke the consumers, and they're going to be back buying their iPods and back buying their, cheap food at cheap prices, and they're going to get that consumer gulag casino state ramped up again. And this is going to take the value of the dollar down as it was going down up until 6 months ago. The dollar index was sitting post-World War II lows. It got down to 70 on the index. Now it had this rally, a bear market rally, into the 85, 86 range. It's topping out now. It's going to resume its downward trend, break through 70, and head a lot lower. And, you've had a guy on your show, Peter Schiff. He's an excellent analyst. He's an excellent writer. He's got a book on this. And I would also point out that Peter Schiff has said something. Let's get into the Obama situation a little bit, if I might.
Go ahead.
If that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
The Obama situation, Obama coming on as President of the United States, I think even guys like Peter Schiff, who are fiscal conservatives, I think is a fair statement. He has suggested something, and I want to bring it up with you. And I agree with Peter Schiff on this. Millions of Americans out there have been shafted by the bankers, and they're sitting on negative equity in their homes. Right now, there's a legislation in America to convert non-recourse mortgages into recourse mortgages. So in other words, instead of being able to walk away from your negative equity home after having this predatory loan forced down your throat by unscrupulous bankers, you're not going to be able to walk away from that loan anymore because it's a non-recourse loan. It's going to be converted to a recourse loan, which means you're going to be on the hook. You're going to have your pay garnished. You're going to be in debtor's prison. You're going to have to face that mortgage debt head on. What Peter Schiff is saying, and I agree with him, is people should just walk away from that debt anyway and stage a massive civil disobedience. No,
I agree with you. Let me just stop you, Max Keiser, because you're great at breaking down the basics. We have this international consortium of private banks, an intergroup. They terrorize the public, and they threaten Congress with martial law through the executive, that if they don't pass it, they say, we've got to have the money this week. Now, a month later, they haven't given any of it out to any, troubled mortgage securities. Instead, the banks are on record in the New York Times bragging, we're keeping the money and giving each other bonuses, tens of billions of bonuses at Goldman Sachs alone in each division in each country. I mean, just no transparency, corruption like we've never seen before, and then, as you said, they've changed the laws so we can't declare bankruptcy. They're moving to try to say we can't get out of mortgages and we can't even walk away. This is unbelievable. I mean, how much do they plan on squeezing us? So give the listeners from your expertise the basic breakdown of what we're dealing with.
Well, you're dealing with the banking establishment has really gotten full of itself beyond anything I think anyone could have possibly imagined, even during the most excessive periods, even during the Mike Milken phase, even during, the corporate raider phases, even during, the greatest excesses of banking largesse, the J.P. Morgan phase, going back a century. This is really the most unbelievable wealth confiscation by a small group of bankers on Wall Street that we've probably ever seen in the American history, and quite possibly, I've looked through history in other countries, other periods. This ranks as one of the most unbelievably egregious wealth confiscations by a small group of bankers, really, in history.
And they're just getting started.
Well, they have. It's very difficult for America. See, this is my point with Obama. And okay, the point is this. American people, no matter who is going to be president tomorrow morning, it's still incumbent upon the American people to take action for themselves.